but let's get right to it and bring on Dan. Here we go. Welcome, Dan.
How's it going?
Pretty good. Really glad you are able to take a few minutes here and join us. And we're going to dive right into the AQP for general aviation. What is that? If viewers right now, either live or on the replay, what is it, I guess?
Yeah, I appreciate that, and always anxious to answer that question. I do a little bit of traveling, going to EAA groups and pilot clubs, things like that, to answer the same question. And the answer is that AQP stands for Advanced Qualification Program. It was developed by the airlines to answer a specific problem, whereas the same type accidents kept on happening over and over again. And the check ride always has a certain set of things that you have to do on the check ride for whatever you're doing. You've got a book, normally called a PTS or an ACS, that has the maneuvers in it. So the airlines figured out that the things that were in the maneuvers book did not match the ways that the guys were bending up airliners. So they threw that book out the window and said, now we're going to give you a different check ride. It's one that we made up based on what we want you to do. So when you get to the airlines, they assume that you can do a steep turn and a short field landing. So those aren't really on the 747 check ride anymore. They put only the maneuvers on there based on what has been hurting airliners out in the field. So the concept still applies to general aviation, even though we're not airliners. We should take the rule book, and the airlines got permission from the FAA to throw away the ACS and to write their own playbook called AQP. Here's the oral and here's the maneuvers. So it makes a lot of sense. All I've done is written based on accidents. I've written the AQP curriculum and the maneuvers numbered 1 through 20 based on ways we bend up 172s every day.
I've been flying for 19 years, and I really appreciate the effort behind it, and I think it's great. Honestly, I think it's really good.
Well, I appreciate it. And while you're on that subject, you've been flying for 19 years. Let's look at the effort that the FAA places on making sure that your medical is valid. If you even had a glitch in your blood pressure or blood sugar or diabetic, they would yank your medical. And what about the airplane that you fly? Your airplane has to get an annual inspection signed off by somebody that has an IA credential. If you have nut inside your 172 that's not an FAA certified part, the whole thing is down. You're not flying. So they put tremendous effort on making sure both the medical condition of Joshua Ryan Blair and the airplane he's flying is totally impeccable. However, the skill set of Joshua Ryan Blair has gone 19 years without inspection. Is that true?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. I mean, you do your biannual flight review every 2 years, but I mean, depending on how long you've been flying the plane and honestly, how long you've known the instructor, and it could just be a routine thing. It could, personally, it's just a matter of touching on a handful of basics. And
let's talk about that.
Yep.
It's minimal.
Yep.
When you go get your airplane signed off for an annual, an inspector called an IA has to put his name in your book and certify that this aircraft is safe to return to service. And he signs it with his credential. He is signing off the airplane. When you go to your doctor to get your medical, that doctor is going to certify you for flight. When you do a flight review, it's your buddy, and you can go to get a hamburger, and he does not put an entry in your logbook that says, I certify that Joshua Ryan Blair is safe for flight. He just says, I flew with him for 1 hour. What's Joshua Ryan Blair's skill set? He's been flying for 19 years. He hasn't been examined in 19 years. Is there anything that he's missing? We don't know. The biggest link in safety is missing. There's nothing there. And that's why the AQP thing should be a voluntary program. Benefit of doing AQP, number one, you're going to help save on insurance and save our industry from some insurance problems that we've got. But the really big benefit of AQP is staying alive. That's
Mhm.
a very large benefit to not die in your airplane. I would think it's worth a little bit of effort. I have nothing to sell you. I want you to know about this. I've developed it. It's all for free. It's voluntary. Take a few minutes and learn about the 20 ways to kill yourself and which of them might or might not apply to you. Go the extra mile. Go out, spend an extra hour with a flight instructor reviewing the 3 or 4 areas that could possibly hurt you. I mean, doesn't that make total sense?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, there's a lot of things we invest in, and there's a lot of things we spend our money on and time, unfortunately, that is completely useless. So something that could, save your life, and it's not just your life's affected. I mean, your family's. It's huge. It goes beyond even yourself.
On my website, dangrider.com, I've got the 2020, the year 2020, the year we just closed, the pandemic year. We had 188 general aviation fatals. So I've got all of those categorized and broken down into which category and which one had the most. And guess who the winner was? What category won first prize for most fatals out of the 188 general aviation fatals? Which one was the biggest category?
I'm not sure.
It's loss of speed awareness. 42 general aviation airplanes flying under day VFR conditions. Ironically, all 42 were day VFR that got too slow in the traffic pattern. Number 12, loss of speed awareness is a
Hmm.
huge chunk of the pie there. I'm speaking your language. This is free. I can't do any better than free. These are the April 2021 fatals. That's the N numbers and the state and how many people died. So this is a big deal. I haven't finished wrapping up April, my conclusion yet, but off the top of my head, not 100% sure on that yet. There's a couple factors in there, but 14 out of 14, I'll bet you, are going to be totally preventable. If they had known it was coming, if they were ready for it, they'd be alive today. Now, that's down from the NTSB industry average is a baseline of 1.0 fatal accidents per 100,000 hours. How many hours are we flying per month? We don't really know, but it basically translates to 19 fatals per month is what the NTSB considers acceptable, which
Hmm.
translates to 31 dead bodies per month. They're satisfied at 1.0. They would like it to be below 1.0 is what they say, but they're not doing anything about it. They're not traveling to these sites. They're not investigating. As long as it hums along at 1.0, they're fine. So in the month of April, we're down to 14. We've actually been tracking really, really much better. January, February, March, April is the first third of the year. We're down significantly on both fatals and a number of lives lost. So we might be making a dent in this. I don't know,
Okay.
because I don't know how many hours we're flying, but you can take any one of these N numbers, dump it into Catherine's report, and read the entire thing. And I encourage you to do that if you've got any interest in airplanes. Here's some part-time reading to do when you've got nothing to do. Pick an N number and read the report and see if you can figure out what happened. Most importantly, pick out what bucket it should go in. I call them buckets. What bucket should that N number fall in? So there's your April Part 91 general aviation. That's the thing I'm after, and a bulk of these are preventable. We could seriously, if we put our heads together, we could get down to a GA accident being a rare occurrence. We could get it down to less than 10 a month easily.
What are you shooting for like say 12 months from now?
I have a trend vector, and in all the big airliners I ever flew, they always had trend vectors. This thing has been humming along at 1.0 plus or minus for the past 20 years. We have not been able to leave the 1.0. I want to see this tip vector bend significantly down. I want to change our direction. I want it lower. I won't say where it's going to end up at. Obviously, my goal is 0. I don't think I'll ever achieve 0, but for sure, my published goal is 0. If you look at it on a timeline, I want to be able to say when Dan Gryer got involved in this thing in the year 2018, 2019, and 20, here's where it was at. and look at this vector. Over the next 5 years, this thing is definitely pulling down. It's 0.9, 0.8, 0.7, 0.6. Dan has bent this thing down. It's never been done before. I want this thing lowered, and that is definitely the goal. This would be a good time to mention our ACA's Aviation Content Creator Awards. We started that last year. It had a fantastic last July, 30 YouTubers together. This year, we've got about 50 YouTubers coming with an air show. Everybody's invited. If you're a pilot with an airplane, free camping, free parking, and a whole bunch of Patey's and Clemenses have got together to give away a whole bunch of Patey products, best tug products. That's the weekend prior to AirVenture. Party with us on the ramp, live band Saturday night. Come in and have some fun. All your favorite YouTubers are going to be there, and I'll be there with my trombone. If you can't find me, just listen for the trombone, and you'll be able to find me quickly.
I appreciate the viewers that had a chance to join us live, and if you're in the replay, thank you for watching as well. You can drop in the comment if you have any other questions. Perhaps we can get to those later. We'd love to hear those. And until next time, fly safe, and just be blessed.